Hi, I'm Richard. I've been with ReBoot Running since the first run, I think. I met Alistair, I've got to tell the story. I met Alistair in a Salomon event in the Pentland Hills in Edinburgh. It was my first group trail running experience, and I remember we were running up a very long and slow hill. It was a painful hill. It was painful for me, probably not so much for Alistair. He's super fit. And I was thinking, I need to get out of this. I need to start walking now. I'm done. So I pulled out my trump card. I said, Alistair, I have a trump card to pull out. I've had open heart surgery. I'm about 2 years out. And he laughed. And I thought, why is he laughing at that? And he said, well, I've got a trump card too. I fell off a mountain and was stuck at the bottom and was rescued. And we were chatting about that experience, both of our experiences there. And we both had major impact events in our lives that really affected us both physically but also mentally. We started chatting about that. We did start walking at that point, walking up the hill. And it was just that connection that we got started, and I joined ReBoot Running at that point. Probably a little after, to be fair, but I think it was that point that got me involved. Key areas, okay. So I work in some very stressful environments and some high pressure jobs, really large scale projects. And I've suffered from stress before from work, and I've been signed off twice when I was younger. But I've learned to deal with that through various cognitive counselling. I've learned how the tools and methods to work around that. But what's helped me a lot has been exercise. So I've done mountain biking, I've done bodybuilding way in the past. And then I took up running and then trail running as well. But I think the biggest thing that affected me was the operation. Not so much the operation itself, that was easy. It was like going through a conveyor belt. What it really was afterwards with rehab and realising how much it affected me. I couldn't walk from the bed to the bathroom, which was a few feet really. I couldn't walk that without feeling like I'd run 10k. And having been able to run 10k in the hills just before the operation, I knew what it was like. I was really knocked for six. I think the other thing about that is that, so it took months to rehab, and Alistair and I shared this experience. It takes months to rehab, both physically but also mentally. And just getting your head around the fact you can't walk. I couldn't walk around the block. I couldn't. And starting to run again was shocking because mentally, I know my heart's been operated on. And there I was going off running to raise my heart rate, which the last time that had happened was when I was in AFib, and it was not a pleasant experience. So that's really tough to get through. But it's not just that initial side, it's like ripples in a pool. If you drop a pebble in a pond, these ripples will go out, they'll come back again. And that's how it feels. You'll be fine for a long, long time, and then suddenly things will start to hit you again and get on top of you, and it's not just the operation, but everything starts compounding like ripples. So it always comes back. But for me, it's been exercise, and I think I've always enjoyed exercise, but when I got trail running, there's something about trail running. I'm lucky because I live 2 kilometres away from the Pentland Hills, so I can just go out for a run and I'm suddenly there. And it's something about that leaving the city behind. So like the last car you pass, the last street, the last street light, the last telegraph pole, how old am I? And the last vestiges of the city disappear and you're in the countryside. And it's like every one of those that goes away, it's like a little tie being cut with all the baggage and the stress and the worries that you've got. And when you're out running, it does genuinely feel like things are falling out the back of my head as I'm running in the hills. It just, there's something about it. You go out, you get into this groove, everything falls away from you. You become an empty shell in a good way. So you come back physically drained, but also mentally drained and ready to fill up again with the stress of life. So that's that. I think that's that question answered. So what's helped most? So what's helped most has been the exercise. I think I've already mentioned that actually. The trail running really does help, but it's not just the trail running, it's the running a group. Something I've really discovered when I first met Alistair. It was my first experience running with a group, and I expected to be competitive, and people thinking, well, he's a bit fat and overweight and old. How's he going to do this? And just being left behind, but it's not like that at all. It's really supportive. There's no competitive nature. The fun is all about the terrain and the experience around you, and it's really supportive. And there's no expectations. There's no hassle. You're just supported. And it's something that really helped me through my first actual trail run up at Glencoe with Salomon. Was the team around me. So yeah, that's something that really gets me through, the supportive nature of the group when we're trail running. Something else actually is the whole experience of planning a route, checking a route and making sure everything's okay, and then leading a group through it. There's something about that, just, I don't know, there's no pressure about it. It makes you feel really good that you're taking people and taking them on that journey is something that's really special as well. Yeah. What's kept me going? So what's kept me going through these times is not only because I work for or work with the NHS, so science, fact, the real truth about things, no conspiracy theories, no conspiracy nuts, no American presidents going mad on Twitter. All that aside, the things that kept me sane are the trail running, is getting out trail running. I also do long photography trips in the hills, so it's all that nature aspect that helps me. But when you're exercising out in the hills through this different terrain and going through mud and over rocks and down hills, there's just something about that just keeps me going. It refuels me or empties me so I can be refueled. What am I looking forward to most? So I'm looking forward most to getting back running with the group. I mean, I do a lot of trail running anyway. You wouldn't know it at the moment. I do a lot of trail running anyway, but with the group it is something different. It's just a really great feeling of being supported, of being around a group of people who want to do the same thing in the same place, and especially if you're taking them out on a run they've never been before. I really enjoy that. I've got some new routes lined up, and so I'm really looking forward to taking people out and taking them down some downhill mountain bike routes, running in the hills, and just get them to experience these things for the first time, like I did when I was on my own, but didn't have anyone to turn to talk to about it. So being in the group and being supported and getting outside of the city to new routes, new places I've not been to, where we're all experiencing them for the first time, and getting out on a ridge to do some running, those are the things I'm really looking forward to. So I know we've got to be in lockdown and we've got to wait, and we've really got to get a vaccine before everything's back to normal. But when that happens, we're going to take to the hills.